You're listening to Intellectual Nudity, uncensored, uninhibited, unleashed. The Jose Soto Show.
Alrighty then. Now, isn't this interesting? I tell you, man, these Republicans, they need help. And you know, I don't know if I want to help them. I mean, should I? Of course not. Well, let me say something, because, you know, as a Mexican myself, I really don't give a shit much about, you know, racism. I mean, I know that it exists, and so I don't want to make it a big deal or anything like that. And I know for a fact that there are people within the teabagger movement that are, I don't know if they're racist, but they certainly think that this country is supposed to be white. I mean, that's what I have been exposed to. So, I'm just letting you know what my experience was when I was a teabagger, and really, boy, was I duped to believe in their nonsense. Oh no, we're all about fixing the economy. We're all about restraining the big government, right? And of course, what do? They support the Republican Party's platform, and so it's all basically BS. And when you actually talk to these people, and you sit them down and you talk to them, and you say, okay, wait, what are you about? I mean, what are your issues? They're gonna say the deficit and the debt and the spending, but in reality, it doesn't affect them. Let me tell you why. Because a lot of these people, these reactionary teabaggers, and that's not a slur. Somebody says, "Oh, that's a slur." Well, if you're gay, maybe, but grow up. I mean, look, I'm trying to deal with this slur, supposedly. And, well, whatever. But if you actually sit them down and they talk about the spending and the deficits and all that, they don't pay taxes directly to pay the deficit. Some of these, actually most of these reactionaries, they pay sales taxes, property taxes, they pay a state income tax probably. And a lot of these people just don't pay enough taxes to be worried about the deficit. That's not. If you're a big corporation or a big bank, of course you're going to worry about the deficit and the debt and the spending. And when I was in that stupid fruity movement, I was trying to figure out, why are we so concerned with the debt and the deficit? I mean, we are the richest country in the world. We are the world currency. We are the bank of the world. We can print credit as much as we need and we want. And what's going to happen? Well, the dollar's going to devalue. Well, it hasn't. I mean, what happened? This is my own perception here. But what happened is you had these people out there behind the teabagger movement. Certain people, like the gun manufacturers, all about the Second Amendment. Yeah, because they want to sell guns and they want to fear people into buying guns. Oh my God, you don't know what's going to happen. Government might come in and, rape your kids or something, I don't know. And then you have these people who are selling gold and buying gold, They buy gold at cheap and then they sell it at a high price. Yeah, what we have is a gold bubble, and I want to talk about that maybe some other time. But what I see about these people, these teabaggers, they're very close-minded. So I wouldn't say that they are racist per se. I mean, I know there are a lot of people in there that are racist. Like, they hate blacks, they hate Native Americans, they hate Everybody. I mean, you had this David Barton guy talking about, oh, it was a blessing for us to kill all these Indians when the white man got here. We killed all these savages for the betterment of our country. People like this, I would call racist. But there are a lot of people in the teabaggers who are just so childish. I mean, they're people who think like children. But I don't want to insult your kids. I think that the majority of kids are pretty smart, but that depends on their parents too. So, anyway, the Republican Party is trying to say, we are different, we're going to become different. We are, ladies and gentlemen, a whole new image. And so you have the Rush Limbaughs and the Mark Levins, the Groucho Marxes, the Harpo Marxes, and all these dumbasses, airheads, Beavis and Buttheads, going at each other's throats. And they really do not like to face reality. And the reality is that, this country is not race-based, it's not sex-based, and is also becoming less religious-based. It's not really a bad thing or a good thing. I'm just saying that's what it is. Okay? Now, let's take a look at this interesting news story. This Republican congressman, first of all, Reince Priebus, the head honcho of the Republican Party, he said, oh, we are developing a strategy to get to the minorities and all that. If you have the right policies, Reince, you wouldn't need to outreach to anybody. You wouldn't need to sell anything. People will come to you. It's the same thing as running a restaurant. What they're doing right now is, I'm a fan of Kitchen Nightmares with Gordon Ramsay. And Gordon tells them, you can try to change the color of the menus, you can try to change the tablecloths, you can try to clean up the place, maybe add maybe paint the dining room or add a new canopy outside. It doesn't matter. If the food sucks, you're out. Okay? Well, unless if it's like a topless restaurant or something. You're going to see a lot of straight guys and lesbos in there. Oh, yeah. But, well, depends who's topless, Well, if they're guys who are topless, I'll go. But the thing is that Gordon Ramsay has it nailed down correctly. The Republican Party is a restaurant that is deeply in need of a Gordon Ramsay shock reality. The Republican Party needs Gordon Ramsay to come in and say what their problem is. Maybe he could make a new reality show called Partisan Nightmares or something like that. He comes into the Republican Party and tells them, oh, you know what? Fuck this shit. I can't fix you guys. And Gordon Ramsay, he goes in there and shows them what's wrong. And most of these restaurant owners are like, no, it's not the food, it's not me. You're wrong, Gordon. They're in denial. And then, of course, I worked in restaurants, and I see why restaurants close. Why? Because their food sucks. And why is nobody taking the bite out of the Republican Party? Because their food sucks, their policy sucks. So here's the thing, Republicans. You don't have to outreach to anybody. You don't have to outreach to the minorities, as you call them, or anybody. If you have good policies, if you stand for American exceptionalism, if you stand up for the working class and the people, for everybody, not just your business owners, not just your Southern Dixiecrats, wage gouging, union busting hacks, but everybody in the country, then everybody's going to flock to your doors. It depends what you're serving up Show us your menu. Give us a sampling of your cooking. And then we'll eat it, and if it sucks, we'll spit it out. And that's what we did in 2012. We spit you guys out. Alright? And I'm not a fan of the Democrats. I'm just saying. The 2012 elections was more about rejecting the Republican Party than it was about embracing the Democrats. Let's just be honest with that. So they're trying to outreach to minorities. I don't know if they're going to succeed on that. Outreach like how? Having this doofus, what's his name? Congressman Don Young from Alaska. And so he used a, what many consider a racial slur, wetback, right? I don't know. My father once was called a wetback. He was pissed. But I don't know. I mean, what do you mean wetback? Oh, because they're illegals. They cross over the border. You know, they swim across the Rio Grande. Well, my father didn't swim across any fucking river. Let me just tell you that, asshole. My father actually walked across the border with a visa. And so, when these people who are, I don't know, xenophobic, I don't say it's xenophobia. One of my professors really nailed this when I was in college. It's called ethnocentrism. A lot of ethnicities or races have this, like the African nationalists, you know, they believe that they are so great and that Africa was the center of the universe and all that bullshit. And also you have these white people who are also ethnocentric, who say, you know, we are European descendants. We have a better outlook in life. We are ingenuity. We are, you know, and all that, disregarding the history of the Mexican nation in Mexico, where you had, you know, a very vibrant artistic and creative culture that was then ravaged, ironically, by the Europeans. But I'm not going to get into that. That's just history. All right, that's fine. I'm not one of those. Mexican activists who want to revive that long gone past. I don't really care. I think that all of the American countries, the U.S., Canada, Mexico, all the way down to South America, we need to get united against the European invasion, and that is of the monetarists, the IMF, the World Bank, and all these other hacks who are trying to take over our resources, our economy, our infrastructure, and we need to face them off. But we are all united, no matter what color skin you are. And with that said, people like this congressman can just blow me, okay? All right, congressman, you can fucking blow me. I don't give a shit. I don't know. Anyway, here's the article. Representative Don Young of Alaska, in an interview with a local radio station released Thursday, referred to Latinos working on a ranch by using the derogatory term wetbacks. That's kind of, I don't know. Do I find that insulting as a Mexican? Well, I don't know. I never been called a wetback. Although I don't know. There's one chick I remember when I was in college. There's one chick thought I was a heterosexual, and she thought I was after her. I don't know what. She was nutty. I mean, she was white, you know, but she was really nutty. And she cried over anything. Like she finds a kitten somewhere in the dark alley, she will like pick it up and cry with it. Oh my god, somebody abandoned you. I'm like, what the hell's the matter with this bitch? But I don't know. She called me Ricky Ricardo once, I think it was. I don't know if that's racist. She was talking to somebody else and said, "Oh, I think that Ricky Ricardo guy's he wants me," or something like that. Boy, she got that way wrong. First of all, my name's not Ricky Ricardo. It's Jose Soto. And I'm sorry, girlfriend, but you're carrying the wrong equipment for me. Yeah, hey, if you get me drunk, maybe I'll fuck you because, you know, I'm okay. I'm fine with that. But she's butt ugly anyway. Just give me 3, 4 beers, maybe a martini, and then some Viagra because I'm gonna need, to get really hard with my 2-inch cock, and I'll ram it inside your pussy. How about that? She pissed me off a little bit because she was so pompous, and then she was so fucking ignorant. She was, she's ugly and a little bit overweight, and she thought I was after her. I'm like, what the hell's your problem? I don't know about the Ricky Ricardo remark. I think that was more, it's pretty. I don't know. I don't look like Ricky Ricardo. Really, I don't. But I've noticed that there are other slurs against Mexicans, not just Ricky Ricardo. First of all, I'm not Cuban. Right? It's not even, Ricardo's not even a real Latino name. And so we have Beaner. We have a lot of... Beaner's a really famous one. And yes, there is blatant racism around here, and we need to address it. But there's sometimes we go overboard and we say, hey, we cannot have Speedy Gonzalez anymore because that's offensive. I'm like, it's not really offensive. I mean, we have always on these cartoons, like on Looney Tunes and all that, and on Disney, we always make fun of the rednecks and crackers, I don't know, why do you call white people crackers? I don't even understand that one. Wetback is like, what? Europeans had to cross a giant pond called the Atlantic. Maybe their backs are more wetter than ours. Anyway, so let's get back to the article here. Quote, my father had a ranch. We used to hire 50 or 60 wetbacks. That's amazing. I mean, just like nonchalantly, wetbacks. I mean, you might say to yourself, I'm not being racist. I'm just saying that, that's just how I speak. But hello, you are a congressman, number one. Number two, you're a politician, and politicians like to look after what they say. Number three, the Republican Party is trying to step away from this kind of stuff and not look like they're racist. And, they had that CPAC convention thing where you had that meeting, that meeting on race. And they had the white supremacists there. Oh, that was funny. Yeah, that was really a game. We used to hire 50 or 60 wetbacks to pick tomatoes, Young said in an interview with KRBD. It takes 2 people to pick the same tomatoes now. It's all done by machine. I mean, I don't know what this conversation was about. What was it about anyway? The term wetback is a slur often used to refer to illegal Mexican immigrants. Merriam-Webster defines it as a Mexican who enters the United States illegally from the practice of wading or swimming the Rio Grande, where it forms the U.S.-Mexico border. But you see, the Rio Grande doesn't go all the way across the... it's not a fucking moat, you dumbass. It doesn't go all the way around the fucking country. Has anybody taken geography in the Republican Party? Hello? I don't know. In a statement released late Thursday, Young said that during the KRBD interview, quote, I used a term that was commonly used during my days growing up on a farm in Central California. I know that this term is not used in the same way nowadays, and I meant no disrespect. Okay. When people of the Republican Party, the conservative movement, when they talk about traditional values, what do they mean by that? Have you ever asked yourself that? When they talk about gay marriage and bashing gays and going after women's uteruses and all that. I mean, what do they talk about when they say traditional values? Is the notion that they want to stay at a certain point in time in which degrading people, putting other people down who are different and all that, that was, popular. It was accepted. So, I know of a person who's like this. They are always talking about, oh, how great the 50s were and all that. I'm like, no, it's not. Today, we have computers, we have the internet, we have, big screen TVs, we have all this technology, all this civilization. I prefer to have this than the 50s. And I don't care what you throw at me, oh, family values and all that bullshit. Really? Family values? God, please. There was a lot of hanky-panky going on in the 50s. Believe me. But what they mean by traditional values is that they want to keep their mindset of the country back in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, before the Civil Rights Act. That's where they want to keep the country at. Heck, they want to keep the country back in 1791 if they can. Where we had mud roads and dirt roads and no air conditioning, no hospitals, no nothing. Great. In his statement, Young said migrant workers play an important role in America's workforce. And earlier in the said interview, I discussed the compassion and understanding I have for these workers and the hurdles they face in obtaining citizenship. America must once and for all tackle the issue of immigration reform. Okay. The Republican National Committee has in recent days and weeks urged the party to adjust its tone on issues of immigration and gay rights, to try harder to appeal to minority communities. But Young isn't the first to foil that plan. The Republican National Committee official on Wednesday posted an article to his Facebook page that referenced filthy homosexual lifestyle. When I said yesterday, I think it was, that the Republican Party is not going to change, I get criticized by all these people, and I'm like, I don't see it. I see it worse. I mean, there's no way to put it. I'm sorry. And so, anyway. Oh, here's the clip. Let me play you that and see what he says. Hold on one second. Oh, that wasn't it. Lee, this computer's slow. Hold on.
I used to, my father had a ranch. We used to hire 50 to 60 wetbacks and to pick tomatoes.
Ooh, this sounds like a new Republican image, doesn't it? Oh, yeah. Sounds like a guy I want to vote for. I mean, it wasn't just the words that are coming out of this pig's mouth, but, I mean, look at his tone, like a fucking pig. That's what he is. He's a fucking pig.
I used to, my father had a ranch. We used to hire 50 to 60 wetbacks and to pick tomatoes. It takes two people to pick the same tomatoes now. It's all done by machine.
Also, we used to say niggers back then. That's the thing. Sorry, my mindset's back in the 60s, the 50s, and the 40s where we used to say those kind of words. I don't know what to say. I mean, I can't really be pissed off at a moron, or you can't really blame somebody that has a mental illness because of their incompatible thinking process. You can't blame somebody who is stupid because of their stupidity. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, but there you go. Oh yes, the modern GOP, the new face, the new image of the GOP. By the way.